Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, we are continuing our look at really good deck lists. And remember, on this channel, I only bring you really good deck lists that have had proven success by looking at what I think is the best Metagross list around. Now, full disclosure, before people get too mad at me, there were two Metagross lists that made top 16 at Bremen Regionals. Robin Schultz got 9th place, and Tom Hall got 11th place. They both made top 16. I would today want to look at Tom Hall's regionals list. Although I contend that, yes, Robin, he did better because he had a slightly better resistance. That's all we're talking. I like Tom's list. We're looking at Tom's list. And like all Metagross lists, it is all built around Metagross. Metagross is amazing. Geotech system allows you to attach a psychic or metal energy from your discard to your active Pokemon. And then Giga Hammer allows you to do 150 damage. 180 with a choice band, which hits lots of key numbers, like KOing stuff like Drampa and Tapu Lele. Now, you cannot use it the following turn, but that's alright. You manually retreat Metagross, discarding the free energy, because you've got a retreat cost of 3. At which point, you then just use Treble Geotech system, assuming you've got free Metagross out, to attach those energy to your new active Metagross. And then you've got Algorithm GX for 1 energy. Search for any 5 cards and put them in your hand. Now, of course, the bane of this is N. Because if your opponent plays an N after you use Algorithm GX, you've kind of wasted your GX attack. If you can use this in the early game and not get N'd, you will set up. But your opponent is probably going to play Tapu Lele to Wonder Tag for an N. So a lot of players prefer to leave this for the late game, where your opponent is less likely to have an N, and you can basically search out the cards that will guarantee that you will win the game. I leave it up to you. 4 of these Metagross, because you need as many Metagross as you can get your hands on. 4 Beldum and 3 Metang. We are going consistent here. Yeah, we're playing Rare Candy, but we want to be able to get going as fast as we can, so that makes a lot of sense. 4 Tapu Lele GX really is consistency. Metagross is a fairly straightforward deck in some respects. You just want to be using Metagross to hit for 180, retreat, max potion, 180, retreat, max potion, etc. 4 Tapu Lele and the Wonder Tag ability mean you're going to be able to find your supporters when you need them. Bench space may become an issue if you've got 4 Metagross out. You've only got 6 bench spaces. But honestly, ladies and gentlemen, Tapu Lele is too good. You need to have one to get the supporters. Playing 4 of them here makes a lot of sense. And 1 Alolan Vulpix also for consistency. Because with Alolan Vulpix here, you just get to use Beacon for 0 energy to search out any 2 of your Pokemon. Couple of Metang to evolve next turn, couple of Metagross to evolve next turn. And what's lovely about this, you can use an energy to manually retreat a Beldum or a Tapu Lele, and then you don't need a second energy in order to use Alolan Vulpix. It's good because it means you can use it now. You don't have to wait a turn. That is lovely. Now, the other Pokemon Tom is choosing to use is 2 Necrozma GX and 1 Espeon EX. And I think this is a great little plan that Tom's got here. Now, on the one hand, you have got the ability from the Necrozma. Cannot be damaged by colourless Pokemon. Unlikely to be hugely used at the moment, because we just don't really have any really good colourless Pokemon. But something to bear in mind for the future, certainly. Again, Prism Burst is alright. 10 damage, discard all Psychic, do 60 more for each card you discard, and you might use this. Because if you've got free Metagross out, you can chuck free Psychic energy on there with Geotech system, and then discard them all to do 190 damage. Doing more than Metagross. And if you actually manually attach a Psychic Energy as well, or somehow get a 4th Metagross out, although that is asking a lot, you could potentially be doing 250 damage with Necrozma. Again, you would need either free Metagross and a manual attachment, or you would need 4 Metagross out and then you could potentially be doing 250. And you can always add to that with a choice band. This gives you an option of a big attacker that can hit more damage than Metagross. The problem here is that you really do need one heck of a setup to get this working, ladies and gentlemen. And then you've got Black Ray GX. 100 damage to each of your opponent's GX and EX. And this is really, really funky. Now, sometimes your opponent will take a hit of 150 or 180 from Metagross and retreat. And if they do, well, you know what, ladies and gentlemen? You know, sometimes it happens, and it sucks. Oh, no, wait a minute! You can use Black Ray GX to potentially finish them all off. And if you don't use Algorithm in the early game, sometimes you don't need it in the late game. That is where Necrozma comes in, because obviously if you use Algorithm, you can't use Black Ray GX. But the other thing you do is you just use this to do 100 to all the GXs, Decidueye, Metagross, Gardevoir, etc. And then in comes the aforementioned Espeon EX, that for a single colourless energy, devolves each of the Pokémon one stage. And Decidueye, when it gets devolved down to a Dartrix, will have less than 100 HP and get KO'd. Metagross, when devolved down to a Metang, will have less than 100 HP and get KO'd. Gardevoir, when devolved down to a Curlier, will have less than 100 HP and get KO'd. And you'll only get one prize off each of them, but you will entirely wreck your opponent's setup. So as much as this is Metagross, this is a Metagross deck, it is also a Necrozma deck. You've got the option to do a big amount of damage with Prismatic Burst if you've got the appropriate setup. And then, of course, you've got Black Ray GX, which really helps when combined with Espeon to devolve some Pokemon and KO them. I should mention here that even if you're not getting a great setup, Prismatic Burst, if you're against something like an Espeon, which is weak to Psychic, it will only actually take discarding one Psychic energy with a choice band, and you'll be doing 200 and getting the KO. Although, conversely, remember that if you get hit by something like a Garbodor, you will be being hit for weakness, and that will be sad. Now, because we're talking Metagross and Necrozma here, we're talking 6 Metal Energy, 5 Psychic. This is a much more even split than we're used to seeing. If we take, for instance, Philip Schultz's deck list, and I did tell you that I'm a fan of this deck list, this is the one that I particularly want to look at. Robin Schultz's was very much a Metagross list, so it played 8 Metal, 2 Psychic. Tom's really is a Metagross and Necrozma list, so they're not the same. They are very different decks, even though they're both Metagross. So we've got a 6-5 split here. We still want more Metal Energy, but it's more even. And in terms of supporters, we've got 4 Professor Sycamore and 4 N. These are the 2 best draw supporters in the format. We need to get set up in this deck. We need to get Metagross rolling. 4 and 4. 2 Guzma here, because a lot of the time you can just sit there and smash with Metagross or Necrozma, hitting whatever's in front of you, and if they do retreat when they're almost KO'd, Necrozma can take them out with a GX attack. We still need Guzma, but 2 will be okay here. 2 Bridget, generally we play 2 just in case 1 is prized. You need to Tapu Lele Wonder Tag in the early game to grab a Bridget, we play 2 just in case 1 is prized. That's how you get your Beldums out. 1 Skylark, because it allows you to search for things like Max Potion to heal, like Field Blower to turn off a Garbodor's ability so that you get your abilities back. 4 Ultra Ball, because it is the best way to search out your Pokemon, and you need to get your Pokemon. 4 Rare Candy might look greedy when we're also playing free Metang, but as I've been saying for the past 9 minutes, as we've been going through this video, you need to set up your Metagross. The only thing that's particularly important in this deck is setting up your Metagross against a lot of matchups. Setting up your Metagross will mean that you win. So you know what, ladies and gentlemen? You need your Metagross. You gotta have them. So we're playing 4 Candy as well as free Metang. 2 Max Potion. We would like more. We don't have room. Running both Necrozma and Metagross means we do have to unfortunately cut some cards somewhere. Max Potion here. You retreat Metagross. and then you max potion, and then you have him ready to go in the future. 250 HP combined with max potion is a bit cruel. That's why we play it. And as I mentioned earlier, we play Field Blower mainly for Garbodor. It's nice to get rid of stuff like Floatstone or Choice Band or Fighting Fury Belt, but primarily here, it's to get rid of Garbodor's tool, turn off their abilities, so that you can then roll. It's important. It's got to be done. Only playing 2 because we only have space for 2. 1 rescue stretcher just because we need to recover our Pokémon, maybe from an early game Professor Sycamore where we had to discard them, maybe because they've been KO'd. Either way, we want them back. And free Choice Band to do more damage. It does 30 more to EXs and GXs. That's a good thing. Obviously, we would like a 4th. Of course we'd like a 4th. But we don't always have 4. So what can I tell you, ladies and gentlemen? It's got to be done. Sorry about that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Tom Hall's Metagross Necrozma list from Bremen Regionals. It got 11th place. It is a great list. I heartily encourage you go check it out. Speaking of go check it out, Tom does have a new YouTube channel, and I'm being mean enough to steal his list to do an analysis on my channel. So I thought, you know what? Better tell you about Tom's. There's a link in the description. Go and check it out. Tom's been a very good friend of mine for many years at this stage. So go check out his YouTube channel. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you won't, but you'll never know if you don't look. Speaking of plugs for my channel, get your comments down. Tell me what you think about this deck and this list. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. That's where the live action happens. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, etc., you can do so at patreon.com/PTCGRadio. Ian Devlin has just done that exact thing, ladies and gentlemen. So, you know, maybe you want to be like Ian Devlin, who I don't know, but I imagine he's pretty cool. But by far, the most important thing as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.